Hey, all you podcast listeners, you can find Slice of the Paranormal everywhere podcasts are found, or you can watch us on our YouTube channel.
Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome to Slice of the Paranormal. This is a podcast where we talk about paranormal stuff, haunted histories, historical mysteries,
Wizards, dragons, ghosts.
dead
Ghost
things.
with one body but two graves.
Ghosts with one body.
Dual graves.
Dual grave ghosts.
Yeah.
And each week we also review pizza from
And while
around.
we're there investigating, we review a local pizza place. So look forward to that later in the episode.
Yep. Hi, I'm Christy. Do we already do that?
We can introduce.
And I'm Stephen, the historian.
Historian, and I'm Ryan
Of the Riot Variety.
of the Riot Variety. And this, let's do this.
Okay.
What are we talking about today?
So this one involved a trip to Erie, Pennsylvania.
A very cold trip to Erie, Pennsylvania.
Very cold trip. It was snowing. It was a long drive.
Yeah.
But we're going for a very important reason. We were going to see the sights of a ghost that supposedly not only haunts many places, but the entire state of Pennsylvania.
He haunts the entire state.
He haunts the entire state of Pennsylvania, and
That's impressive.
Yeah.
he's got two grave sites that both hold his physical remains.
So you could go anywhere in PA and they'd be like, he haunts there too.
Could be him.
Pretty much a diagonal line from Erie, Pennsylvania to Radnor, PA, which is in Chester County.
It's down towards Philly.
Down towards Philly.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
he pretty much crosses the state.
All right.
So, I mean, we could see him riding by here, the studio. You don't know.
We don't know.
Now, a lot of people say it's Route 322.
Who is this we're talking about today?
We're talking about Mad Anthony Wayne.
That's his birth name.
Well, his birth name is Anthony Wayne, but Mad is added later.
After
in
his
life.
death or while he's alive?
While he's alive.
Okay.
He's known as Mad Anthony Wayne. Now, this guy, he's born on January 1st, 1745 in Chester County, Pennsylvania. And he, is a tanner. He's trained in land surveying at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. And he ultimately marries a woman named Mary Penrose in 1763.
Mary Penrose.
And they have two kids. They have a daughter, Margarita, in the 1770s.
There's no way her name's Margarita.
It is. Margarita.
All right.
She was a salty lady.
Oh.
But I'm
And a son named Isaac in 1772, just 2 years later after Margarita is born. So when I say Anthony Wayne, people usually think, oh, well, they know the time frame. They're like, oh, this is the American Revolution, type period.
From the picture, you can tell. He looks like George Washington.
I have a picture of him. He's very much
Definitely revolutionary times.
Yeah. So, but they don't know much more than this guy was a soldier, and that's what they know,
Okay.
Including myself. I have to study these people as well.
Right. Have to.
He starts out as a soldier, and he becomes an officer, and he works his way up to brigadier general. He becomes a statesman, so he's a member of the Pennsylvania Assembly from 1774 to 1775.
Okay.
He's in the House of Representatives from 1791 to 1792. And then he's called back into the military as the 5th senior officer of the U.S. Army from 1792 until his death in 1796.
Wow.
So, and he's considered a founding father of America.
Seriously important.
officer and a gentleman.
Oh.
Yes, definitely. Now, as a soldier, he fought in some battles you may have heard of, like the
Battle of Bulge.
Brandywine,
Oh, okay, Brandywine.
Paoli, Germantown, Monmouth, and Fallen Timbers.
Monmouth.
And
Not Mothman.
not Mothman. And
If he fought in the Battle of Mothman, this would be the greatest episode
The
ever.
Battle
now,
of Mothman.
literally not everyone likes this guy.
Okay.
Especially Native Americans.
Oh.
Because one of the things he's known for is due to George Washington's policies during the Northwest Indian War, Anthony Wayne is the guy pushing those policies and to the negative effects of the Indian tribes of America.
I gotcha.
So, and not to mention that his own father was an officer in the French and Indian War. So there's
Mad Anthony's dad.
Yeah, his dad's like in the French
Is
and
he
Indian
mad
War.
too?
No, just not. Just Anthony's the
Just
mad
slightly
one.
unhappy.
Now,
Irritated Anthony.
so let's
Irritated Anthony.
clear the mad part of his name.
I like
up.
it. I kind of want to add to mine.
There's a couple schools of thought of why he got the nickname Mad Anthony Wayne. He was quick to temper, and he used a lot of off-color language.
Oh.
So
Like purple and green or brown.
Yeah, indigo.
Yeah.
And it may have been given to him by an Irishman named Jemmy the Rover. Jemmy,
Nice.
That's a
I
sweet
like it.
name, man.
Yeah.
Jemmy the Rover.
I know, it sounds like he's like a slick
He's in a band
character.
somewhere.
And Jemmy was threatened with 29 lashes for, get this, being noisy and troublesome.
Oh.
So
I think that would
Like
be
just
me.
in general?
in general. So
Not like
and,
after 8 p.m.?
like you have to
After a
imagine
couple drinks.
Anthony Wayne was a very strict disciplinarian. There are stories of him executing his own soldiers in York, Pennsylvania, and that there's
He seems like a happy guy then.
their ghosts
Yeah.
haunt that part of York.
Oh, their ghosts haunted.
Their ghosts haunt that part of York because he literally had a firing squad shoot at these men.
Oh, man.
And I think it's like something like 7 were killed. And
Oh, my gosh.
the fields behind them were splattered with their brains and whatnot. And then there's also which it's a completely another story. He's executing another person that's also his soldier. And the soldier reads out of the Bible what is called Trotter's Curse. And essentially curses Anthony Wayne in his dying moments.
Oh, seriously?
With this curse. So if you...
From the Bible?
yeah.
There's a curse in the Bible?
Yeah, there's
Really?
lots of weird things in the Bible
Yeah.
if you just read into it. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's a Trotter's Curse in the Bible, and I might even have it. I don't know if I wrote it down. I didn't.
What's
write
like the
down.
essence of the curse? Like,
It's pretty much damning his soul
Okay.
for unfairly and unjustly treating him.
all right.
Essentially, is what the curse
Yeah.
is. But some think that maybe Trotter's Curse might have a hand in what happens with Anthony Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Wayne,
Mad Anthony.
once again, a lot of the people I talk about, this guy was a philanderer. And it led to his own wife estrangement from him was because of his philandering ways. And he's also got some dark aspects to him. He owned slaves at one point, and then later in life he turned against the practice.
Okay.
But then we get to his death. Why do we go to Erie? So we go to Erie because Anthony Wayne is returning from Detroit to Pennsylvania. And he dies in Erie while sitting on a chair, supposedly of gout.
It's because it was so cold.
Well, you never know.
Gout?
Yeah,
Gout?
like you don't hear
That's
of a
got
lot
to be
of.
some bad gout, right?
Well, it almost killed Ben Franklin too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't
Different
know
time,
that.
different time.
Different times, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, some say he might have been poisoned because the guy that succeeds him in his military position is a guy named by the name of Wilkinson.
By a guy named the name of Pretty Lucky Charlie.
Pretty Lucky Charlie gets the job, all because of the death of Mad Anthony Wayne. So Mad Anthony
Highly
Wayne
sus.
dies in Erie, and they bury him in the Blockhouse at Presque Isle.
Presque Isle.
The Presque Isle Blockhouse, which we visited. So
What is a blockhouse?
it's like a security spot. You'd have
Like a military type place.
part of a military.
And they buried him
base.
in the building, like in
Correct.
the basement of
It's
the building.
It's like a mushroom-looking building.
yeah, I
that
remember.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they buried him there.
Okay.
And then essentially he's buried there, and he stays there until his son Isaac Wayne disinters his body in 1809. Now he dies in 1796, so just a few years later, his son's coming up to dig him up. The goal is, I'm going to dig up my dear old dad, and I'm going to transport him to Radnor, and that's where I'm going to bury him in the family plot.
Sure.
So
Wow.
I've heard two
That's
different
a morbid
stories.
job, though, to like set out to do.
Yeah.
Such a different time back then. I don't know.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like digging up a corpse
Could you
wasn't
imagine?
a thing.
Yeah. I mean, just to trek across the
But,
state.
I mean, if
Right?
you think about it,
Yeah.
like traveling in the 1700s is atrocious.
Sure.
The roads are horrible. They're
Yeah.
not like paved
Your wagon
like
wheels
we got.
are getting
So,
stuck and
if they
broken.
you got to
wanted-
ride back with your dead dad.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
But if they want to visit their father's grave, they also don't want to make a week's journey or 2 weeks journey
Right.
every time they want
Right.
to see
I just
it.
wouldn't visit them.
True.
Solve that problem.
Sorry.
So
Right off.
Yeah.
his son's thinking, okay, when I dig him up, dear old dad's going to be nothing but bones. So they dig him up, and lo and behold, Mad Anthony Wayne is actually pretty decent looking.
Did they still bury him at
it was-
6 feet back then, or was it like could they be shallower?
They could be shallower.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone like him would have gotten a decent burial.
Decent, yeah.
Now, other soldiers, when you're dealing with like Revolutionary War
Mm-hmm.
or Civil War, a foot to 2 foot
Right.
underground is what they were getting.
Yeah.
If you were a regular soldier, but the officers were usually taken off the field of battle.
Yeah.
And then transported home.
How old was he when he died?
He was 51
And how did he die? Do we
of
know?
gout.
Of the gout. That's right.
Of the gout.
Of the gout.
Of the gout.
I know
Well,
it's not the gout. I just like to say the gout.
So they dig up his dad, and they find out that his body is well preserved.
Right.
Except for one of his legs has started to rot.
Okay.
Okay. So he's
Fair
like,
enough.
I've heard one of two stories. Either he has 2 saddlebags on his horse, and he's planning on putting the bones in those saddlebags and going home, or he had a 2-wheeled cart behind the horse.
That makes sense.
So
He planned on just being bones at that point.
Exactly. He wasn't planning on taking a whole body, nor would you want to.
Right.
Because obviously a rotting body would stink, and that's a long journey to have your old dad stinking up the place.
Oh man.
So a local doctor decides or suggests, well, we could boil him. So,
Wait, boiled dad?
yeah, they're going to boil dad.
We just want the bones. What's the best way to get just the bones?
It's just so hard for me to wrap my head around. It's like that's more respectful than just like leaving him in the ground where he lies.
yeah.
You know what I mean? They'd rather desecrate his grave, boil him, just to bring the bones back so that they could go sit by his grave.
Well, they felt that, like, how you thought of it when I said he's buried in a blockhouse.
Yeah.
The son thought, this is a very non-noble spot to be buried.
I get that.
And he wanted him to have a more respectful grave.
But boiling him is more respectful?
Oh, yeah.
Look at the means. It's whatever. He got to get the
You
bones
gotta do
home.
what
That's
you gotta
so
do.
morbid.
So they essentially boil Mad Anthony Wayne. The doctor's job is with 4 other guys. They start cutting up Mad Anthony Wayne and chucking him into this giant pot.
Nope.
And when they're done, they take the cleaned bones to give to the son Isaac. And then what I like to lovingly refer to as Anthony Wayne's sludge is dumped back into the original grave at the blockhouse that we visited.
So the not bones part.
The not bones part, the clothing he was wearing, the juices of the
sludge,
from hell, the
juices.
Yeah.
sludge, and even the medical instruments they used to fillet his flesh off the bones, are put into the grave at the Erie Blockhouse.
Like, we don't want none of it.
Well, I mean,
It belongs to
you
him
want to
now.
be?
Yeah, it's yours.
Would you want to be cutting up
touched it, you keep it.
the next turkey dinner with the
No.
knife?
No.
So they dump all
knife.
that in there. Excuse me. And the son takes the bones and he travels back down to Philadelphia. So he traverses. Now, Route 322 didn't exist then.
Right.
Okay.
So Route 322 is kind of like an approximation of the route. So
It probably is similar to that, right?
probably very similar.
Because 322 does. It goes diagonally across the state.
a direct line, as close to a direct line as you can to get to Philadelphia. Well, Isaac gets to Philadelphia, or Radnor, I should say, with his father, and he takes the bones out of either the saddlebags or the two-wheeled cart and lays them out. And that's where he notices the first problem. Supposedly, not all the bones were there. So on the path, the bumpy road, parts of Anthony Wayne
He lost
have
some bones.
been scattered all across the
Like
state of Pennsylvania.
fingers and whatnot.
Yeah, they don't say what parts of his body are missing, just that parts are missing. And I'm assuming they're the smaller parts, like
Yeah.
arm bones, leg bones,
Yeah.
hands, feet, things like that. They're scattered. So Isaac decides, well, we still should bury what I have, and they buried him in the
Make the
family
best of a
plot.
bad situation.
Now, I'm going to tell you, Isaac lives the rest of his life regretting the fact that he had his father dug up.
Oh, yeah?
And transporting him. Because of losing parts of his dad, he carries a guilt.
Yeah.
The rest of his life.
Aw, yeah.
Because
Trying to do the right thing and
was-
screwed it up.
Yeah, he was trying to do the right thing, and he didn't do it very well.
Yeah.
So, because...
That's a big ass.
And
Well, the doctors were telling him to boil your dad.
Well, it's
boil 'em.
the doctor's name was Dr. James C. Wallace, who is the guy who boils Matt Anthony
Yeah, he's
Wayne.
not a friend of the show.
Well, but if you think about it, a lot of people that die in America and their families are still in Europe, their English families want their bodies back. That's a common practice. I mean, you could boil them and send their bones back to Europe.
Yeah.
Or there were other tricks. They could put you in a barrel of alcohol, essentially pickle you and send you back in a barrel. Now, the problem with that is sailors sometimes only got a certain amount of a ration of alcohol.
No.
So they found...
They drink the corpse
they-
booze.
Zombie juice.
well, they didn't always know that the corpse was in there. They would just see a keg. So
Yeah.
they'd take a reed and put it into the liquid and
Yeah.
just drink out of it. And there's accounts of people getting back to England and their body is essentially mummified because the sailors had drank all the booze. And then the third way is to put them in a vat of honey.
Oh.
Because honey it inhibits bacterial growth.
Yeah.
So you can
That's
put 'em
probably
in
the
that.
most pleasant
Stay in
way.
honey forever.
Probably most expensive,
Could you
too.
imagine trying to get the body out of the honey? That would be pretty rough.
Yeah.
They can get those little ducks out of the oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, just need some Dawn.
Just a little Dawn
I don't think
detergent.
they had Dawn back in 1796 or what is it, 1806? It's a little bit before Dawn.
True that.
Was out there. So Matt Anthony Wayne's ghost is said to either traverse from Erie to the family graveyard in Radnor.
Okay.
Every year on the January 1st, every year, which is Matt Anthony Wayne's birthday.
Oh.
Of course, some people say that Matt Anthony Wayne's ghost travels from Radnor to Erie and then back to Radnor
Oh, interesting.
on that day. So I don't know which way
Does the
it
whole
is,
thing.
like which way he's going.
Why?
Is he seen like on horseback or
Yeah,
walking?
He is
or-
seen on a horse. Some say
going the wrong
he's
direction?
on a horse, riding his horse Nancy between Erie and Chester County, looking for his missing bones. Others say
Oh, he's looking for his bones.
he's riding another horse. He had another horse that was a popular horse of his, and that horse is sometimes when he's seen on the other horse, the hooves are engulfed in flame.
Oh,
Yeah.
Now, that's the horse I want to see. If I'm seeing Matt Anthony Wayne,
Flame hoof.
flame hoofer.
Yeah.
That's who I want to see. But this guy is not only seen traversing the entire freaking state. His ghost is seen in Fort Ticonderoga, sitting in a chair, smoking a pipe by a fireplace. His ghost has been seen.
Where's that, Gettysburg?
Fort
Ticonderoga?
I have no idea. You're the one with Google.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I feel like I've been there.
I think it's out west.
That was in New York.
It is in New York.
Oh, shiznit.
Ticonderoga. Yeah, I feel like I've been there. Revolutionary War.
And this is why you're so good at quiz nights.
I guess so.
The Storm King Pass along the Hudson River he haunts. He haunts the ruins of Philip Nolan's farm in Loudoun County, Virginia. And his ghost has been seen at his home in Chester County called Waynesboro. And there's even, I don't know if it's related because he's not the ghost, but the General Wayne Inn located in Marion is also haunted. Maybe just because it has his freaking name.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? I watched some other YouTube video where they were saying that Poe also haunts the Wayne Inn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Now, isn't it the Wayne Inn that, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, that
General Wayne Inn.
Did he carve his initials in the window pane?
Yes, I think
on
that's the
second
one.
floor of the building, I think. And I think I read that he was using his wife Virginia's wedding ring.
Oh, no kidding.
To carve it.
Wow.
So, and he haunts another place that we also visited, which was Valley Forge. So he haunts Valley Forge.
Now, did he haunt where the pot was?
You are thinking right with me here.
Oh, nice.
Because we went to Erie, and we not only stood at the Blockhouse to see his first grave,
right?
But I was like, hey, while we're in Erie, we got to go see the pot.
The pot.
And, so...
You got to explain what the heck the pot means.
Okay. So it's not a dispensary.
Right.
What the pot is they have the pot that Matt Anthony Wayne was boiled in on display, and we have a picture of the pot that I took.
Oh, yeah.
This pot used to be stored in the basement of the Watson Kurtz mansion, which is on that grounds. You know how when we walked around, we walked to several buildings?
Yeah.
The one building is the Watson Kurtz mansion. And that's where not only was the pot stored in the basement, but Matt Anthony Wayne's bones were stored there before the son travels back to Radnor with him.
Okay.
So, while the pot
that makes sense then.
Is in the basement, supposedly the pot's haunted. The pot was making all sorts of like clanging and rattling noises while being in the basement of the Watson Kurtz mansion. So also near the pot, I have a picture of the chair. They have the chair
right
that he
the
died on is right behind the pot. And there's even the coffin fragments to the coffin that they found of Matt Anthony Wayne.
Wow, so quite a lot, like connecting him to his death.
I think they even have a letter that was written by him. So,
pretty cool.
It's a big pot.
Now the Watson Kurtz mansion is haunted. Ghosts are sensed in the ballroom of that building.
Of this building?
Of that building.
Huh.
And there's a second floor bedroom that supposedly has the haunting of one of the daughters that recovered from an illness in that building. So we're not only discussing the Matt Anthony Wayne's ghost, but the sites are historic and interesting on their own.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't realize that all that was haunted there as well.
So now the house we saw the pot in is
pretty
actually
morbid collection. The pot, the chair he died on.
Right.
A picture of the place he was first buried.
Bits of
the
coffin.
pot that he was boiled in.
Yeah.
Bits of his coffin. Yeah.
It's very...
It's a morbid...
You'd think there'd be a lot of energy right there.
Well, and this has been on my bucket list to seeing this pot for a
I
while.
love when Steve gets to do stuff that he hasn't done before.
Yeah.
I have
He's so
never
excited.
been to Erie before.
Looking for this pot.
And I've always wanted to see the pot that they boiled Mad Anthony Wayne in, because that's just a messed up story.
Yeah.
It is.
And to think that, like, here it is, how many hundreds of years later, and his ghost is still supposedly seen traversing the state,
Yeah.
trying to find bits and pieces of himself. You know,
Yeah. It's a
kinda
good, creepy story. It really is, like the stuff that makes those kind of good stories. It has all
Exactly.
that.
So, I'm a big fan of the American Revolution and the history of all that, and the founding of not only our government, but Pennsylvania's history in general.
Sure.
Because, I mean, his father being part of the French and Indian War, I mean, that's before there's even an America.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Exactly. Before,
There's not a country yet. We're still colonies.
Yes.
pretty cool.
So he stretches back there to the times when, my family was just colonials,
Just some Hessians.
Yeah, just some headless Hessians.
Some weird headless Hessians. We all have headless Hessians in our family. I can't be the only one. But
Maybe.
But again, he was called Mad Anthony just because of his temper, not because he was crazy, right?
no, some people say that he was crazy, but
Oh.
no, it more than likely was honestly because of his temper.
Okay.
Because, militarily, when you look at this guy, he was a great military leader.
Yeah.
He won many battles.
Oh.
So I don't think he's mad, because mad people probably aren't the greatest leaders.
Yeah.
Typically.
Yeah.
I think him being. I think it's more realistic to believe he was an extreme disciplinarian, because I could find accounts of him killing his
Right,
own
his
soldiers
own
for
men.
minor offenses.
Yeah.
Oh, you know who else starts with Mad? Mad Mardigan. From
Mad Mardigan.
Willow.
Oh, from Willow. Yeah.
Mardigan.
Well, there's lots of cool people with the beginning name of Mad. I mean, there's
Yeah?
Mad Max.
Mad Max. That's true. He is pretty cool.
He was definitely cool. I mean, he took on, what was it, Tina Turner in the Thunderdome.
The Thunderdome, man.
Tina Turner in the Thunderdome.
You got to be badass to take on Tina Turner in the Thunderdome.
I know, she's like a tough lady. She had horns.
She did have horns.
So, hey.
I never saw it.
No.
Nope.
Really?
Nope.
It's Tina Turner, and she just died a few years ago.
I know.
horns.
And she has horns. Nope. Never saw it. I should.
Guys like it. Guys always like a horny
Yeah.
lady, so it
But
is what
chink.
it is. So, we also drove on Route 322,
Yeah.
and we did not encounter the ghost of Mad Anthony
He
Wayne.
did not accompany us
But
on
it also
our-
wasn't on his birthday.
It wasn't on his birthday.
Right.
So maybe we have to go back up on January 1st.
Nope. Too cold.
Too cold.
Oh, yeah.
Our next trip up there has to be in the summer.
Yeah. It's
Yes.
so cold.
Because literally, like, we're driving by Lake Erie, and Ryan's like, "Oh my God, there's people out in the water,"
Yep.
That's right.
and we were like, "No, there
Ice
can't
fishing.
be."
Yeah.
But there were people ice fishing on the damn lake.
It did not look like the water was frozen.
It was not totally frozen.
It did not look like it at all.
Apparently where they were
But there were
frozen.
people like in the middle of the water
Oh, yeah.
on tents and walking around.
And
I was going to get out and walk on the water, on the ice. Do you remember?
We couldn't find a place that looked frozen.
like wherever we were, there seemed to be like a few feet of water before there was ice.
Yeah, how'd you get out there?
I don't know how they were doing it.
Yeah, I think we should have gone, because we could have hung out. I've always assumed.
It was so
I watched
cold.
Grumpy Old Men, so
Oh, yeah, good one.
I know about what these guys do in those huts.
Right.
There's beer.
Yeah.
Oh, there's definitely beer.
So like we
Yeah.
could have had a drink. We could have skipped the bar.
True that. Just hit each
And
of the
just-
Yeah,
different
save
tents.
some money.
Shed
here.
hop a little bit.
Yeah.
Tent hop. I like it.
I think we could have done that.
Next time.
Yeah, next time. I wasn't well equipped with like,
was so
the right footwear.
No, all of the above.
I would have fallen on my face
And
probably.
It was like 30 degrees colder up there than it was where
Yeah.
we're from. Like
And
20
a
degrees
steady-
just that day it got colder.
and a steady, slow snow pretty
Yeah.
much the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't as bad in Meadville.
No.
No.
The next day. It wasn't because like you said, it was like 20, 30
It's like,
degrees warmer.
It's ridiculous. Lakefront really is a thing.
So that, my friends, is Mad Anthony Wayne, his 2 graves, and one of which being the sludge.
I like it. That's a good sludge story. Where's the pot? We got to find the pot.
Yeah, we did. Remember, we went through that one building first looking for the pot.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought it was hilarious because I asked a lady, I was like, where's the pot?
Right.
And she looked at me like I was freaking nuts.
Well, she goes, sir, I'm sorry. I'm new here.
Yeah, she didn't know.
She had no clue. It's like, listen, you are in Erie.
Yeah.
At the museum,
I need the pot.
there's a guy that got boiled in a freaking pot. That's what people are coming here for. I mean, I know they also have like the Frank Lloyd Wright office and stuff, but people don't go to see that. They go to look for the pot.
We did see some other cool stuff.
We did see other cool stuff, yes.
And again, I was surprised to see the amount of people there just on their own visiting this museum, like not a school trip or anything. Just like, I remember seeing a couple walking around looking at the stuff and thinking, well, that's really cool that like they get, there is an interest in it and the people do go and just seek it out, not necessarily with a school or, something like that, but just to seek out the knowledge on their own. I think it's really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always dragging you to bars, to
it's horrible.
Cemeteries, and to museums.
Twisting our arms.
It's true.
You poor
We hate it.
souls.
We seem to not care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I always throw in the bars.
Oh, that helps.
Like,
Smart.
Don't worry.
Learned quick, huh?
After the cemetery, we got a bar to hit up, kids.
Steven's learned how to wrangle us.
Puts the carrot in front of our noses all day.
Don't worry, guys. All right. Well, while we were up there, we hit a couple good pizza spots. But for this episode, we chose Steve-O's Pizza on State Street in Erie. You remember this one?
I do, because of the bar that was 2 doors down that we
Drove to.
And we
drove
drove
to like an hour later.
We came back. Yeah.
Yeah, we came back.
We learned a little bit about navigating through Erie. Street parking wasn't too bad. Service was quick and friendly. Hand-tossed New York style. They had a deep dish burger. Deep dish burger? No, it must have been deep dish pie.
Yeah.
You know how it gets with me. Did not get one. So, Mad Anthony episode, Steve-O's Pizza, State Street, Erie. Steven?
I think did I like it?
You did. 4.0 out of 5.
Oh, I really liked it.
Solid piece of pizza. Great size slices. Liked everything, but the pepperoni was really greasy. Would definitely haunt this place. Yeah, 4.0, that's a solid
I
score.
had to like it. It's got my name. Steve-O's.
Steve-O's.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't even think of that. Is that dumb? I didn't even do that. That's because I don't call you Steve-O.
Yeah, understandable.
And it's spelled S-T-V-O.
Right.
Steve-O's.
Could be
Christy-
Stevo.
Stevo, that's what I was thinking. Stevo's Pizza. Christy gave it a 3.0 on a little
little lower, but not bad.
My crust was pretty big. Oh, sounds like a personal problem.
No, I know what I mean. Like there was like a lot of crust, like with no sauce or
The
cheese on
to
it.
sauce ratio,
Yeah.
there's a lot of extra crust.
Right, like all of the
And
sauce
you're
and cheese
extra
was in the
picky with
middle.
that. You always like it when the cheese is on the crust. Or
I do
right to
like,
the edge.
I like a little bit of cheese up there. Sure,
New York style.
most people do.
Cheese did not go all the way to the crust and had a lot of sauce. So it had a ton of sauce. Interesting. Run of the mill New York style slice of pizza was your answer.
Yeah,
3.0 though, so
yeah, it was like good. It was not, I wouldn't turn my nose up at it.
and me, I'm a sucker for New York. I always like that. So I'm guessing, 3.25 out of 5. Crust was nice and crunchy. I was not a fan of the taste of the sauce, but overall good slice of pizza. Cheese was just how I like it. I would haunt this place. So I liked it, 3.25, and I was not a fan of the sauce. That's
That's pretty good.
impressive.
So you must have liked everything else about it.
And I wonder, she said there was a lot of sauce. I wonder if it was a little bit less sauce, if I would enjoy it.
Yeah, you
it's
don't
all about the
typically like it
ratios.
saucy, super saucy.
So a little less sauce, maybe I would have really enjoyed it. But overall, great scores. Steve-O's Pizza, Erie, Pennsylvania. Check them out. Go give them some business. Tell them
I don't
Slice the
remember.
Paranormal sent you.
Were we able to get any stickers up? I don't think we did that weekend, did
I don't
we?
have any pictures of them that one, but maybe.
No, everything was too pristine. Remember?
Yeah, we don't like to be dirtying up a town or a historic site
Right.
unless we see
Other people did it first.
other people have like stickers galore on certain
Right.
areas.
Yeah.
Do you remember in this restaurant, they had the weird pictures on the wall? I have them up on.
Oh, I do.
There's like they're like it's kind of retro. There's one with a girl holding a salad in one hand, eating a piece of pizza in the other, and looking weirdly at the salad.
She's like, I really should be eating the salad, but I'm eating a
screw
pizza.
you salad. Yeah. And then there's one
I'm
of
a
a little boy
stink eye anyway.
like wholeheartedly enjoying shoving a whole pie into his mouth. Yeah, it's fun. Look at the YouTube if you want to see it. I'll post them on Facebook then too.
I love when we go to pizza shops and just the decor just like throws us off.
Yeah.
It is. It's kind of random sometimes.
It was like Pudgy's where we saw like the Disney posters from like 45 years ago.
Yeah.
that would
were
like fade from the sun. It was awesome.
They obviously had multiple colors at one time, but when we saw them, they were just blue.
Not so much.
Yeah, because the sun had faded them so much.
Took away all the warm colors.
And we also went to that restaurant on this trip. It was like the barbecue place with the pigs, right? And the blood splatter was on different parts of the pig.
Oh yeah. Oh, that
Like, is that ketchup, barbecue sauce, or blood? It's supposed to be on that pig.
I know which one. I'm voting for blood.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go blood barbecue.
Blood BQ. You're in the middle.
I'm going ketchup, I guess, then.
Well, it is what it is. You can't always agree.
Yeah, it definitely looked like blood to me.
Well, let's wrap up this Mad Anthony Wayne.
All right.
I'm Mad Anthony Ryan.
I'm Matt Anthony Christie.
And I'm Mad Anthony Steven.
Join us next time.
You crave a slice of the paranormal.
This podcast was produced by Stone State Entertainment.